Fine. Yeah.
You are live.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. And today is a special day of Gimmel Tammuz. Very, very holy day. Hopefully, we'll do a little learning of a mimer, being that Thursday night in Mayan Yisrael is Lakutei Torah night. So we'll do some of Lakutei Torah in this week's parsha, and then we'll get a chance. We'll talk a little, bring a little bit about Gimmel Tammuz and some important aspects. There's copies of the mimer around on the tables for those who want to look inside. It's a very short mimer actually, but very, very important mimer. In a certain way, this mimer encapsulates the essence of Chassidus in some regards. Obviously, it's hard to say that. I mean, the Rebbe has a whole kuntris on what's the essence of Chassidus, right? The kuntris in Yonish Teres Chassidus. So to say that this encapsulates it is obviously a little bit naive or immature. But the concept that the Rebbe deals with in this mimer, the Rebbe meaning the Alter Rebbe, is really talking about avodah. One's what we're here for, working, creating or not creating, but discovering and developing our relationship we have with Hashem. This mimer is focusing on a specific pasuk in this week's parsha. The pasuk says, "Va'avad halevihu." The pasuk speaks about the service of the Leviim in the Mishkan, and the Rebbe. Just to say what I'm going to say, the Rebbe here means the Alter Rebbe, as we're referring to the Rebbe here, the Alter Rebbe. So the Rebbe, this mimer, focuses on the word "who." The word "who" in this pasuk is extra. Pasuk should have says that the Levi is going to serve or serves. Why does it say who? Him, he serves, right? That's superfluous. It's an extra word, and the Rebbe is going to use this as an opportunity, as Chassidus does, to take this word and use it as an inroads. What does Chassidus do? Chassidus provides us an inroads, the inner understanding of the deeper dimensions of Torah, and to tell us what the true depth of this pasuk really is. And he's going to quote to us a Zohar, that the Zohar opens up for us the concept on a very, very deep level. So we're going to do a little reading inside. We're not going to spend 3 hours on this mimer. Number one, it's short. It shouldn't take us 3 hours, but as we said, it's really a very fundamental mimer. But we want to maybe get more to the Farbrengen, especially of Gimmel Tammuz. So we'll do a little bit of the mimer, and we'll see how far we get. So the Avad HaLevihu, the pasuk says, and the Levi will serve. Pirush, what does this mean? So the Rebbe says, Pirush Kamesha Kosav b'Zohar. So he quotes the Zohar. The Zohar says, Shekol Avodas HaLevim Hainu Lahamshich Mibechinas Hu. That the service of the Levi, the whole purpose of the Levi was to draw down the level of who. Right? Now, what does the word who mean? He is very not specific. It's not defined. It's not something that you have clarity in, right? The word who, you're not saying him as an individual that's standing in front of you, or someone that you could point to and sort of identify fully. Who is he, right? Who is he? What is the word he? He could be anybody, right? So the Zohar says that the word who implies a very deep concept, a very deep level, and this level is the avoid of the Levi. The avoid of the Levi is to draw down the level of who, which is, what is the level of who? Shehu Bina. The level of who is Bina. So just to elaborate on this concept for a minute, what does Bina mean? Bina literally means understanding. That's what the word Bina means. Bina means to understand. But as we'll see, the main body of this mimer is to differentiate between two of the intellectual faculties. In Chassidus, we speak about three intellectual faculties: Chochmah, Bina, and Das. And in this mimer, the Rebbe is going to focus on the two of Chochmah and Bina. And in Chochmah and Bina, he's going to explain to us two differentiations give us two differences between Chochmah and Bina in their function. And through understanding the difference in their function, we'll understand which one is how they should be used in Avodah and serving Hashem, and also the order in which they are used, and why specifically in that order. That's going to be the main structure of this mimer over here. But first, just to understand the translation of the word bina, bina means to understand. Now, when we use the word understanding, understanding means you have something that from on its face value, on its surface value, on its superficial value, you can't really gather much, right? You have a chair. You look at a chair, all you see is a chair. But if you think about it, even the word chair is already an indication of a certain depth of understanding of a chair. What do I mean? If I didn't have language or I didn't have abstraction and I saw what I call a chair, what would I say it is? I would say it's a piece of material with 4 legs or something, right? There's a certain curved material with 4 legs, right? And then I could look at a table, and a table also has a very similar structure. Let's say I remove the back of the chair. I just have, one of those kitchen, chairs that are, it has a top and it has 4 legs. So I have a table, it has 4. Why is this a table and that's a chair? What differentiates the table from the chair? So you realize that there's a difference because they're not designed exactly the same way. If they're not designed exactly the same way, so there's a difference. So bina is the ability to comprehend that there's something more to the physical structure. And that thing or that concept is what you're fleshing out from it. So you say this is a chair and this is a table because the function of this is to be sat on. That's what a chair means. You sit on it. And the function of this is to put the books and things on to eat and whatever. That's a depth of understanding. That's a bina. So bina means fleshing out something, revealing something, discovering something that in and of itself is not so clear. And it requires a certain in-depth process, a certain introspection, so to speak, of the thing. Bina, in the way Chazal referred to bina as maven davar b'toich davar, to understand a thing from another thing. What that means is that there's a thing, there's an item, and what's contained within that item is another item, but you don't see that other item in the thing itself. It takes a process of deep analysis or deep understanding to grasp that there's something deeper. That means you're uncovering and discovering. The Rabbi explains in a Sikha that there's 2 levels to this. One level of this is that you uncover and discover something which is, so to speak, just its full parameters. Let's say you're learning something, right? We're learning now this mimer. So you could be learning the mimer, and you could say, I want to grasp the full parameters of the mimer. So that's one level of bina, of fleshing out the full structure of it. But there's another level, the much deeper level, is that you actually come to a point of being mechadesh. You discover something entirely new. Scientifically, we have, let's say, for example, the concept of the study of atoms. Or gravity. That was a deep intuition into reality, which is a bina intuition. Grasp, okay, it's chokhmah also, we're not going to get into that side of it, but it's an ability to observe reality and see that there's really contained in this reality a much deeper concept. So bina, therefore, the way bina is being understood at this point in the mimer is bina is the ability to reveal, to discover, to expose, or perhaps we could say, for the purposes of our mimer, to make conscious something that is hidden and concealed. So says the Rebbe, what does the word who refer to? What's the darga? What's the level of the Avad Halevi who? He says that the Zohar says that who refers to Bina. And the Avodah of the Levi is Bina, which means what? What does it mean, the Avodah of the Levi is Bina? He says, Alma de Iskasia al Alma de Iskalia. That's what he says Bina is. Bina is Alma de Iskasia on Alma de Iskalia. What does that mean? Just to clarify these points. We'll bring a little bit about it, because it's going to be if I bring it anyway, but just to talk about it for a second. Alma de Iskasia means literally the concealed worlds. In creation, the way God created the world, so there is, when God created the world, you have God's infinite Well, the truth is, that's already starting when you speak about God's infinity, you're already discussing about God's creation. Before creation, it's not even infinite. The title, the term infinity, or in the words of Kabbalah, or Ein Sof, that's already levels of creation. God himself, what the Pasuk describes in Parshas Bereshis, that Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. V'ha'aretz ha'isa tohu v'vayu. Aretz was tohu v'vayu. The state of tohu v'vayu, the state of absolute nothingness, is the beginning stages of creation. What was before that? God existed. God always existed. God is the only existence, the only true existence. So that's called God in his essence state. The way God is completely disconnected and removed from creation. So then Kabbalah explains to us that there was a process of building a structure through which to build and create the world. And this structure is known as Seder Hishtalshelus. That's the way it's defined or called in the language of Kabbalah, in the language of Hasidus. It's called the Seder Hishtalshelus. What's the Seder Hishtalshelus? The Seder Hishtalshelus is that it starts off from the realm of all the way up to God's revealing himself to himself, which we're not going to get into right now, which is the highest levels of godliness. Just to talk about it actually just for a second. The very beginning stages of a person, the way we know who we are, is actually a great limitation of who we are. We don't know who we really are, right? We don't know who we are. Today in our generation, we're looking to discover the ultimate self, right? And we'll talk about it. Hopefully we'll get into Farbrengen and we'll talk about this point because it's actually the lesson of Gimmel Tammuz, but in my opinion, but we'll get to that a little later, but we don't know who we are. But we have certain intuitions of ourselves, right? There's an intuition, I think, therefore I am. There's a certain intuition of self that in that intuition we know we exist. But that's a very far removed stage of ourselves. But it's a necessary stage in order for us to become proactive in the world, in order for us to go about doing things, right? So, lahavdil, by God, there's also that.